NFL Draft Week is here. I'm your host, Sean Crawford, with Varsity House podcast, co-host Carl Jones. Definitely got to dive into, the NFL Draft this week, and, what better way to do it to bring in some guys who have, went through the draft process. We have a guy, Ronnie Stanley from Notre Dame, first round draft pick to the Baltimore Ravens back in 2016. He'll be joining the show. Talking to coaches, what was the agent saying, all those type of things we'll get from him. But we also have another guy, Matthias Farley, also from Notre Dame, 2016 draft class. He was on the other end of it, went undrafted, and so both of these guys have been in the league for 7 years now, and so they've had long careers. Obviously, it doesn't matter where you get drafted, or even if you get drafted, like I just said, you can still have a long career. So I think it'll be exciting to hear, from two ends of the spectrum. You got a guy who went first round, everyone's dream, being able to walk up on stage, having a suit on, being at the draft, all those things. And then you got another guy who, and I truly don't know how he watched the draft. I don't know if he watched the draft. I don't know if he expected to get drafted. And so I think, bringing those two on for the show to have that conversation, to get both insights, both sides of the story, I think it'll be fun for the fans. So obviously our goal is to always, provide insight, give an exclusive look, into an athlete's life, into, whoever your role model is, into that important figure that you look up to, give insight into their life, and, find a way that, that they can connect to you as well. So, again, this is, Varsity House podcast. This is season 2, not officially season 2. We probably just have one really, really, really long journey where it's just not even going to be seasons, just going to be episodes. So, but I'm calling it season 2 just because now it's year 2. But again, I'm excited. Carl, anything you want to say before the guys jump on?
Nah, man, it just seeing people turn their dreams into reality and being able to change their families' lives, I think is one of the coolest parts about this weekend. Obviously, seeing your team drafted the players is exciting, but just looking at these players individually, man, like you're changing your family, like you're changing your family's outlook. And regardless of what your career ends up looking like, this is a dream that every single kid across the country has when they're a little kid. I know when I was a kid, the commissioner was cool. I just wanted to have the 5 suit on. Like I always knew that I was going to have a nice little suit with the little purple tie for me, with the purple. Like I was going to be stunting up there. Now, I guess it's a good thing I didn't make it because I probably would look like a fool out on TV. But having said that, though, I am excited to listen to these two, especially from two different perspectives, which is dope. But this weekend, man, I'm really ecstatic and happy for all those who are going to participate.
Mm-hmm. What's good? What's going on? This is my homie Carl, co-host.
What's up, bro?
What's up, my man?
Appreciate you hopping on. So basically, we definitely want to talk about, obviously, the NFL draft is this week. I'm bringing on Matthias, later on in the show, kind of talk about two different, ends of NFL draft weekend, pretty much. Like, obviously, you got drafted, went first round, went to the draft, did all those things. Matthias, I don't know what he did on his draft day, to be honest, but he didn't get drafted. And so having the opportunity to, provide, the fans some insight into, what it's like to be in the green room, what it's like to have your name called, what it's like to shake the commissioner's hand, all those things. So I appreciate you joining us, and I'm excited to get this started.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, bet. So we'll first start it off with just, when the draft comes around each year, now that you've been through it, is there a certain feeling you get? Do you always, or maybe look back to that memory, or it's just kind of just something in the past now?
I get kind of happy that I don't have to go through that process again, honestly. It's just a lot, like, it's going through another like freshman year again, pretty much. But now you just have all the media and stuff. So, some guys like that, but, I just kind of like to focus on the job.
Mm-hmm. And then even when you were going through that process, and obviously you finished your last game at Notre Dame, and you hire an agent and go through that entire process. What is that process like to be when you're a projected first round pick? is, obviously teams want to meet with you, teams want to talk with you, but knowing that you will go first round, are you like as excited or, as eager to talk to teams? Because in this case, it's like being a five-star recruit, and it's like everyone's pulling at you. Where in like my
Mm-hmm.
case or even Matthias' case, it was like I'm the one trying to reach out to scouts, reach out to teams and things like that. So kind of just talk about that process from when you finish your last game at Notre Dame to get into draft week.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of what's it called, lights and cameras. It's really a lot of distractions, honestly. But I think knowing or having a good idea of where I would go in the draft, trying to build a team around me to help support me and kind of make sure that I was on the right path and not, getting pulled in different directions, and just so really I could stay focused on football. So I didn't really want to, everything I'm kind of doing now, more entrepreneurial. I didn't really want to focus on when I was, a rookie coming out, whereas some guys, they try to do it all, right as they're getting out. I really try to just focus on really just being the best player athlete I can be, doing that. And, you spoke with Kim, trying to pick a good agent, that was a process within itself. And then, find a place to train. Then you're working with, different financial advisors. You have to vet people out like that. You have to vet out different accountants, going through things like that. And, just doing your best, trying to pick out the right people to help you make the best decisions.
Talk about all the training that you guys do, whether it's combine prep, and then after that, you're just working on position-specific stuff and meeting with teams. But I hadn't really thought about the financial advisors part. You're focused on that before you even get drafted?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And like you said, like having a good idea, you're going to get drafted early. You have to think like that, or you should, try to plan ahead.
Mm-hmm. And now that obviously that's a lot, because coming from college, guys now may have to tap into it a little bit more with NIL and all those things, and so they'll be able to manage money a little bit sooner now. But obviously with that in the back of your head, and we get
Rico.
we we get to the draft, and we get to that moment. During this process, do the agents really know that much? Are their agents really the noise that they may be hearing from the coaches, the scouts, or anything? How accurate is that knowledge? And are we able to the stuff that Todd McShay or the stuff that Ian Rappaport and all those people put out? How accurate would you say that information is?
I really don't think it's too accurate. You know what I mean? Like, I really think a lot of things they're getting from, like, I think it's meant to throw people off, because I think they know agents are going to talk. So, I would tell the agent something just to throw everyone else off. That's what I would do. So, and going through that process, I don't really think a lot of agents really know football. Like, they know, contract negotiations. They know what they hear on ESPN about certain players. They know what they read on PFF, but they don't really know, like, a player's potential, if this player can get better with better coaching, or if this player's, at his ceiling, or whatever the case may be. But, I think for me, I didn't really listen to all that. I took everything with like a grain of salt, but I think they know more than, the average, guy on Twitter just, looking for stuff. But, I really don't think they know what the GM and the guys that are really making those decisions in that moment, I really don't think they're going to know that.
Now, we jump ahead to draft day a little bit. What is that day like? Because I imagine that's the day that you've been dreaming of since you were a kid, right? The day of you finally be able to go up on stage. You went to the draft and shake the commissioner's hand. How hectic was that day for you? Was that a sigh of relief, or was that day like your emotions just going through the roof?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both, honestly. I got invited to the draft. I really just wanted to spend it at home with like my family and whatnot, but kind of got talked into going. But it was a great experience, and there's just a lot going on, honestly, when you get drafted. I think for me, I was excited because, like you said, it was a dream come true. Everything's, coming to fruition at one moment. Like, but on the other side of that, like whatever happens, that's you got to put in the work on top of that. So it's not really like it's a new beginning pretty much. And also a lot of anxiety is released when you know where you're gonna play at. I just not knowing where you're gonna be is probably the biggest anxiety part, versus all the other things. But finally understanding, like, okay, I'm gonna live in this place for at least next couple of years. Like, that definitely helps mentally, like, get you prepared.
And now you went number 6, obviously overall to the Ravens. Did you talk to the Ravens, extensively throughout the draft process at all, or was that maybe a surprise to you?
No, it wasn't a surprise. I talked to them a lot. I think that was one of the teams that I really had a good feeling about, that I thought that liked me. So I wasn't really surprised when they drafted me.
You were also in that same class with the Laramie Tunsil stuff that all like broke up. Are you aware of like where everyone else was going?
No, yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I knew me and Laramie were going to be the first 2 tackles off the board, but I didn't know. I didn't know which one was going to go first. I didn't know who was going to take us first. I didn't know any of that stuff. So all that stuff's a surprise. You just know some of the guys are just going to get picked early. That's about it.
We just had Ronnie on. We talked about his experience, going to the draft, being in the green room, the anxiety of, knowing you're going to go first round, but not exactly what team you're going to go through. Obviously for you, it was completely different. I was telling Ronnie, I was like, we clearly knew where you were for the draft. Matthias, I didn't know where you were for the draft. I don't know if you watched the draft. Like, from my experience, I didn't watch day 1 or 2 just because I knew I wasn't going day 1 or 2. I don't know if you were pretty similar, but kind of just, run us through, your draft moment, your draft experience. Obviously, being an undrafted guy and, experiencing it different, obviously ended up in the same place as Ronnie, still playing the same amount of years. Talk about just your experience and what you've gone through.
Yeah, no doubt. First off, appreciate y'all having me on. It's dope to be on your podcast, Sean. Been following it from the beginning. I would say, looking back on it, I had that, I knew I wasn't going to get drafted, or I was pretty confident I wasn't going to get drafted. So, rather than just sit around and look at Twitter and all that stuff all day, I just went to the lake with my brothers and we just went fishing for the weekend. And then I didn't really keep an ear to it. I got a couple phone calls throughout the deal, just, a couple teams called just to see how I was doing and stuff. And looking back, I'm like, why'd y'all do that? You did. But, so I was just fishing the whole weekend, and then it got late on the last day, and I was like, well, I should probably be by my phone. So I went inside and just chilled. And then right after the draft ended, the Cardinals called me, the Colts called me. And I ended up choosing to go to Arizona. It was the same deal. Basically, I just was thinking in my mind, I was like, you know what? I've been in Indiana this whole time. The safety room in Arizona was so stacked. And so I was just like, if I can learn and compete out there, then I think I'd have a shot at a lot of places. So, truthfully, I didn't stress too much about it. I probably did more than I remember doing. I was just thinking, if I can get in the door, I'll give myself a chance. And, fast forward 7 years, and like you said, we played the same amount of time. It's just a different starting point. You could be the first guy in the building or the last guy in a building. Once you're in the building, you got to earn your keep one way or the other. It's just you got to prove if you get drafted in the first round, you got to prove you're right, or drafted at all. You got to prove that the scouts and stuff are right by picking you. And if you don't get drafted, you get in the building, you just got to prove that they were wrong. That's it.
A question that I have, and Croft always talks about the conversation he was having with his family throughout the time, where they were like, "Hey man, it's okay. How are you doing?" and stuff like that. And Croft was just like, "Hey man, I'm all right. It is what it is." What is it? What is that conversation like with your brother? You're up at the lake and you're with your family. What is that conversation like?
Truthfully, Carl, was upbeat the entire time because we were just hanging out. I'm a really realistic person, so I think I had planted the seed with my family long before it ever, came time for draft time, of just if if I do make a team, it's not because I got drafted, or if I do get in the building, it's not because I'm going to get drafted. So I don't think that expectation was there, and so I didn't feel like my family, my siblings, they definitely did not feel like they needed to keep that expectation up, if that makes sense. Or like, you know, we're all pretty realistic people, so I was just like, if it happens, I'll probably go as a free agent, and then I'm still in the building. So at the end of the day, I was just trying to get in the building.
You talked about getting a phone call or you getting messages throughout the draft, but you got the phone call after the draft. I completely different than what Ronnie went through and what Ronnie just talked about. Sort of give us a little bit more insight into, the undrafted route and, when those phone calls come through and, you talk about you had a couple options. Kind of just give us a little bit more insight into.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So basically, the way it works is like right after the draft, my phone started ringing. I had been in contact, different teams I had worked out for at the pro day or whatever. Those are the main teams that had been reaching out to me, throughout the process. Or I even visited the Colts on like a top 30 visit. And so it's one of those deals where they ask you like, or not ask you, they tell you, this is our interest, this is a signing bonus, da 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 da. Like we really really want you here. And I remember being like, well, I got to take this call real quick. And they're like, okay, well, you got a couple minutes to decide, basically, because they're just going to go through the next, the next guy on the list, because they're trying to sign everybody they can, so they just boom, 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 boom. So it's like, hey, man, we really, really want you here. Like, we really see you having a role. Da 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 da. I'm like, I'm gonna take this one other phone call, call you right back. Like, well, you got like 2 minutes, so make up your mind. So it's not, I don't know. There's definitely interest, but you got to make a quick decision essentially.
Okay, so now you get into the building. This is something I kind of want to talk about because you get into the building I would say this is kind of new. This was really new for me because it's like coming in from high school to college.
The man.
I was low key like,
No, the man. No, yeah. Hey, Carl, I don't know if you know this. Sean took my job in about 2 hours. We had summer work ends. We had summer work ends. Oh, we got a better option.
But I say that because you get into the building, as an undrafted free agent, and obviously they probably draft. I think were you in Tyron's class?
He was like a couple years.
Okay.
He was like a couple years in front of me.
Okay. And so you got guys who are already in the building that, coaches are looking at, the coaches that they obviously drafted. Kind of just, talk about the extra mile or the extra work or just like that mental game that you kind of had to play, being the guy that maybe that isn't as.
Yeah, no, I mean, that goes back to what I said earlier. I really came in with the mindset of I had to prove it was. I also came into preseason in Arizona thinking like, okay, I'm auditioning for all the teams. I'm just like on this team right now. And that was really my mindset. No team technically picked me, so like I have just as good a chance of like sticking somewhere else if I play really well here. So I just went at it every day thinking like I was just trying to prove everybody wrong, not from like, oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong standpoint, but like really just from the standpoint that I really believe that I could play. And we had Tyrann Mathieu, we had Tyvon Branch, we had DJ Swearinger, like we had Patrick Peterson, like there were some dudes in that room. So like in going there, I know I was like, there's no way I'm gonna beat out any of these guys. Like absolutely no shot. But if I could just hang, if I could just like learn, or if I could, make as many checks or, understand the game the way they understood it, then I was like, not every safety room in the league is that deep. And so I went in there more just trying to learn as much as I could from them, but also showcase that like, amongst the guys I was really competing against for, that second to last roster spot, basically, like, that I was capable of competing and doing the job and not just like getting by, but doing it at a high level. And so I was just trying to, make sure I was on it, communicating every day, being loud. Even when I was wrong, I try to be loud just because, safety's got to speak up. And it's not easy to speak up when you're the last guy in the room. There's a bunch of other people and you're like, ooh, that's that check, but I shouldn't say that. I should let him say it. Just getting over that kind of stuff early and, being vocal and just confident in the ability that I had. But at the same time, trying to absorb as much as possible from the guys who are well established, well into their careers.
I hear you. It probably is difficult to tell
Yeah,
Patrick Peterson,
yeah,
hey, change your coverage right now, my man.
yeah. So I gained a lot of confidence through that process, though. I would say, just I knew if I made a team, it was going to be for special teams also. Um, so I tried not to take the defensive stuff. I took it very seriously. Don't get me wrong, but like I knew that whether I messed up a check and it should have gone to this didn't matter as much if I missed a block on kickoff return or punt return or at PP, whatever the case may be. Like that, I knew that was more important to my actual, making the team or a team than whether, the conceptual understanding I had of the defense or how well I could move within the defense because I'm not taking anybody's spot. That's just the reality of the situation. So, I kind of went in with that mindset, and truthfully, I've gone in that mindset pretty much every year. Now I'm just old, so that's like the only difference.
I have one more
Yeah.
question for you. I do remember the message boards days about Sean Crawford in August for freshman year on campus. We got one.
Me
So I
too.
do
I was
remember
up
that.
there
Trust
like,
me, I remember that all the way from back.
I really thought
back
I
here.
had something going. I thought I had something going.
I thought Matthias hated
That
me.
was
I
funny.
honestly thought you hated me.
But you
That's
probably
another
punked your whole
conversation.
freshman year. Come on now. I had your back the whole time.
But like,
Come on now. I had your back the whole time.
my question for you though is, if you could talk to anyone, you've gone through this
Yeah.
journey 7 years now, where you're seeing people come in through
Yeah.
the door, young guys. This week in particular, what would you tell a guy who's similar in your position, not necessarily a Ronnie Stanley who went on day one, but someone in your position who may get drafted, may not?
I mean, truthfully, I would just tell them that it's all just a starting point, which is the same in any career, any business. You walk into the door, you're the low man on the totem pole most of the time. So if you go into it like, dang, I should have been this or I should have been that, then you can really get in the way of your own blessing, truthfully. As long as you get in a building, and look, there's a lot of guys who want to get in a building that won't, and that's just the reality of it. That's not just true of guys who are coming out of college this year. There's guys in my situation, you might never get in a building again. That's just the way the NFL works. It's a constant Rolodex of talent. So I would just tell them that it's a starting point. And just because someone else has a starting point that's a little bit further ahead of you or a lot further ahead of you, it doesn't have anything to do with your future success or the future potential you have to go on and make a career and a name for yourself. Most NFL rosters are undrafted guys. The majority of people, there's a lot of undrafted guys that are out there every Sunday who they got picked over, passed over. But truthfully, I think it gives you a little bit more to, I don't know, focus on or work on or still be hungry, when you're still like, I still feel like I'm chasing it, even though, I've had a way better career than I thought I was going to have. If you would ask me this tonight 7 years ago, I would have been like, I don't know, man, I'm trying to get in a building to prove just a couple people wrong from college. That's really all I was after. and truthfully, just give it to God too. I mean, he's the real commissioner of all of this, and I think if everything is put into something that's not stable or not certain, which no career path is, especially this game that we play. So and then you just got to work when you get in the building, because everybody, once you're in the building, is level. My whole first couple of years, I was playing over guys that got in the building before I did, essentially. But it really, when it comes down to winning and losing, teams are going to put the guy who they feel the most confident that's going to get that done in the game. And you can't get what you're after if you're looking at other people's stuff all the time too. Everybody wants to pocket watch and be like, oh, they're this or they're that, but whether some dude gets brought in to play safety who makes $50 million has nothing to do with me on punt, And so, so if I get sideways about that, like, we're not even here to do the same job, So I just try to focus on what I can focus on, control what I can control, which is attitude and effort, and just be grateful for all that, has happened, truthfully, because it's a good life whether you're the first guy in the door or the last one, And I just try to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're definitely doing a job that, obviously, I don't even know. I don't know the exact numbers, but far more people want to do than they are doing.
Exactly.
Um, And so you're a celebrity each and every Sunday, some Monday nights, some Thursday nights. And so I definitely appreciate you hopping on. It's been a minute since we talked. I'm glad I shot you a text maybe an hour ago, so I'm glad you hopped on and got it done. So, but nah, he's been like my big bro literally ever since I got to Notre Dame. He didn't care, same attitude. He was like, I'm the best special teams player on the team. I'm going to play, if I may not play nickel anymore, but I'm the best player. I'm the best special teamer we got. And he's like, I'm going to do my job there and whatever. So, and then I ended up getting hurt. He ended up starting, and then, obviously more film, and he is where he is now, but definitely had that same attitude for sure. And it's helped him get to where he is now. So that was dope having him on. I haven't talked to him in a minute. I haven't talked to both of us. Well, I talked to Ronnie a little bit a couple months ago, but there you have it. We gave you, both sides of it. It's, obviously everything, all of us listening and all of us who play the game would love to be in Ronnie's situation. Finding a financial advisor, finding an accountant, knowing that you won't have to watch the draft anymore, past, what was it? If the draft started at 7:00, you won't have to watch it past 8:30, anything like that, knowing what team you're going to be on, and, what jersey you're going to have and all those things. And so another big thing is knowing that you can go get a spot, buy a crib or rent an apartment. That's one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't understand, to where it's if you're in Matthias' situation, you talk about being the last pick, last guy in the building. It's you're hanging on to that free hotel. Yeah.
Airbnb.
You're really hanging on to that. So it's completely, two different avenues and lanes that both those guys had to take. But like you heard Matthias say, ended up at the same place, both played 7 years in the league, got, continuing to live their dream. Obviously Ronnie was 2020 highest paid offensive tackle. So he's good financially. Matthias is also good financially, making league minimum is a blessing. It is a blessing. A lot of people don't reach that in their career path. So that's dope. I'm glad those guys hopped on. So now we could kind of, we'll give our I'll let Carl go first, and he can give maybe his top 4, top 5. We won't go into, because I don't even know, after top 5, I don't really know who's picking, but we can just kind of, give our little 1-2 into the draft. So Carl, just anything, obviously the draft is in a couple of days. So anything that you want to touch on, maybe, a sleeper pick or anything that you're really, focused on or want to highlight?
Well, Croft, we play DB, so every year I gotta watch the DBs. I gotta see who coming out. I gotta see who fire. And that boy out of Oregon, Christian Gonzalez, about 6 foot, 6'1", bro can move. And them tall dude, it's one thing being tall. Everybody, as if you tall, oh man, he can put him at corner and go get paid, right? But he actually can move like a little dude. So I'm really excited to see where he ends up. He's like a top 10 guy. I really enjoy the corner class. They're all different flavors. The kid from Oregon, Devin Witherspoon, played like a linebacker at corner, which is funny to see. You pull up his you pull up his highlight tape, and he out there is not picks, is knocking dudes out. So that was kind of dope to see. The quarterbacks will be interesting. I mean, I think it's kind of not necessarily in Sharpie yet, but you can basically write in that Bryce is going 1, but at this point, who knows where everyone else goes? I mean, we all assumed that Houston was taking 1, but all this smoke about CJ not going there, and then now Will Levis is the Colts guy. It'll be fun to see where all those guys land. I will say, obviously, I don't do this thing for a living, but in my recent memory, this is the year where it is the least predictable coming up into draft day. We don't know who's going to, so that's kind of unheard of this late. So I'm excited for this weekend for sure, because there's some guys who can ball and they'll change these teams overnight.
You talk about also Jalen Carter, a guy who is a top 5 player. Obviously, he had some off the field issues, so we'll see what he do. Maybe a team might reach and still take him top 5 or anything like that. So I do like the corner. I gotta watch a little bit more on the Christian Gonzalez kid, because I was low-key just focused on Witherspoon from Illinois this year. I know he played some good ball. Illinois been kind of putting out some DBs now. They got Nate Hobbs in Vegas. and then they got a guy. I think I don't. It might be Kirby from. He's with the Lions now. But I don't know if it is Kirby, but
Mhm.
I know they got a 5 DB from Illinois. But so I like what they're doing out there for sure. I do think Bryce goes number one. I'm not sold on Will Levis. I think, and that kind of goes back to like kind of what Ronnie was saying. Like when you talk about how much do these agents know? How much does like the McShays, the Rappaports, how like what do they know? I think it could be some smoke screen there to maybe some agents. And I think it's funny though, because you look at like a lot of the media person or TV personalities may have some of the same agents as some of the players. They might want to push some narratives. So I think the draft is very, very, very interesting. Just from that standpoint, because it's like everybody want to push the narrative. Everybody want to, get their name out there a little bit. Like I saw a ton of beats and he's worthy of it, but I saw a ton of Bijan Robinson stuff like very recently, talking about like I think somebody posted like he's the best player in the draft, and which may be true. Like he's a beast, but it's just like, why are we talking about that? Because he's not, I don't think they're going to draft a running back top 5, maybe even top 10, but I do think he's that type. He's that good of a player. He will change an organization for sure, but draft is crazy. But we won't get too much into that just because it's like, it's like playing roulette. Like, I mean, I could be right. I could be wrong. So I'm not really going to get into that. It's crazy that people actually get paid to make predictions, because it's like, dude, and that's a job that I wish I had, because it's like I just get to predict like who goes where, and I still get paid at the end of the day. So
It's like being a weatherman. Like I only gotta be like a little bit right.
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like,
But we're switching from football. Let's talk a little bit of basketball. Obviously, NBA playoffs is going on right now. Talking NBA basketball now. NBA playoffs is here. I mean, it's been some crazy games. Obviously, recently you had Jimmy Butler scoring 56. You had Bron going 22 and 20. Probably missing somebody. KD and Devin Booker, they just combined for like a total of like 70 or something that the other night. Everybody balling. The Bucks are down 3-1. The Grizzlies are down 3-1. It's crazy. Injuries are starting to happen. Fox, injury to his finger. I think he is going to end up playing though in Game 5. But a lot of injuries are happening. Cavs, we healthy, but we ain't winning. So it's crazy, because I was like, we'll just talk Cavs for now. But I thought with the Cavs situation, I'm thinking 50-50. I didn't like. I feel like I thought we could win the series. Like if we win or lose this series, I thought it was 50-50. I thought we could compete with the Knicks. I was like, all right, bet we got a body for a body. Julius Randle was coming off an injury, so I thought we had a little up there, but. Then as the series went on, Game 1, I didn't really feed too much into it. In Game 2, I'm like, okay, like Cavs here, we good. We about to win the series. Cavs in 5. They get to New York. Game 3, New York. We got a young team. They play in New York. New York. I'm sure it was crazy. First playoffs in like 16 years or something like that. It was something crazy. So I know that injury was. I know the crowd was rocking. But I'm thinking Game 4, we're gonna come back strong. We're gonna compete. We didn't compete. So, Game 5 back in Cleveland, I think we go win. Like I think the Knicks will probably close it out Game 6 back at home, but I do think the Cavs will they're going to come out hard, they're going to play hard in front of the home crowd. They got to. I hope they do. And win Game 5, but let me get your thoughts on that series before we tap into some other ones.
Man, that series hurt because, like you said, I didn't necessarily think we were a lot better than the Knicks, but I felt that we could get it done in 6. I honestly felt like that, especially when you go out and get a Donovan Mitchell. You're like, all right, this is the guy who's going to take us to the top, right? Especially he was born in New York. That was the team he wanted to go to. All right, bet. Y'all didn't trade for me. I got you. I'm going to get some revenge. And that hasn't necessarily worked out like that this series. It's honestly the thing that hurts the most. As someone who played, obviously not at their level, but you can live with, it not being your day, shots not falling, you dropping passes, it's just not my day. But what is hard to fathom as a fan, player, coach, teammate, whatever you want to call it, is when, and I'm not testing these dudes' manhood, toughness, or nothing like that, But when it seems as if the other team is working a little bit harder than you, that's where it hurts a little bit. And that's where, as a fan, it sucks because that's supposed to be our bread and butter. We call our junkyard dogs, tough, rough rider, Cleveland, right? That blue collar mentality. And they supposed to be the New Yorkers, right? Cool, all that good stuff. And they hitting us in the mouth, which it sucks to see. We'll see what happens in Game 5. Based off what we've seen in D-Mitch in the past, he's not going to go out sad. So I imagine Game 5 he's going to come back after that tough showing he had in Game 4. We are young, so I'm not surprised that the Garden was a little overwhelming. I mean, it's overwhelming on TV. I can't imagine dribbling a basketball with all them people screaming at me like that. But like you said, Game 5, I'm confident. Going back to the Garden closeout game, I can't imagine what them fans going to be screaming. I don't want to know what expletive, cuss words, all of that good stuff, man. So it's going to hurt as a Cavs fan. This is the first year without Bron. We done made it. But regardless of that, man, it just sucks. It's because it's New York. Like, honestly, we lost to, like, Atlanta or something. All right, man. But it's New York, and it's going to be amplified because, like, when you lose to the Knicks, it's on ESPN, TNT, AB. Everybody talk. So that's what's going to be the worst part because now I can't escape it. Like, we lose to Sacramento or somebody or Detroit. Oh, no one cares. No one's watching the series. But it's the Knicks, so that's why I heard a little bit more.
But it's interesting because now you got the Heat up 3-1, and I'm looking at it now because obviously the Cavs Knicks, the winner of that game, winner of that series is going to play the winner of the Heat Bucks series, and I'm thinking like, well, if we got the Bucks second round, it's probably going to be over with. But now the Heat look like they about to end up taking that series, and I'm thinking like, man, the Cavs got a squad that could work with the Heat, that could beat the Heat. I'm like, no, we could have really went to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I mean, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. We down 3-1. We came back from 3-1.
We didn't came back from 3-1 before.
Hey, we might do it again. We might shock the world again. But before we hop off, let me get the team that you think. Not that some series are playing out. Obviously, some injuries. You obviously got the Kawhi injury. PG might come back, if they get to that second round. But just, looking at the landscape of how teams have played in the first round a little bit, who do you see matching up in the Eastern Conference Finals and then the Western Conference Finals? I won't give you championship just because it's a lot, but just Eastern Conference Final and Western Conference Finals.
The Celtics I'll take because this Embiid situation is weird. Like, he's healthy, but not. Like, I don't know. So I'll take the gnome. The Celtics are healthy to our knowledge. I honestly have them out of the East. Regardless of who comes out on this Knicks, Cavs, Heat, Bucks, I think the Celtics are well-rounded enough to get back to NBA Finals. This is where it gets interesting because out West, you got the injuries, you got the old heads, teams with no depth. If you put a gun to my head right now, I say D-Book and KD find a way to get past the Nuggets. It's going to be tough because they have 4 players. That's it. And then I'm going to say the Warriors find a way to win a road game for the first time since 2016, it feels like, and get out of that series, and then take on the Lakers, who I imagine will close things out. Bron's not going to blow a 3-1 lead. Mm-hmm. That's the one that's going to be fun, and I think regardless if you like the NBA or not, you're locked into Steph, LeBron. We haven't seen that since LeBron has come west. Man, honestly, I'll probably rock with Bron just because the Warriors struggle a little bit with size a little bit, and they don't really have that wing. Wiggins can probably be that, but sorry, you're not doing it against Bron. So it's going 7, but I don't.
Dude, I would love that. I would love if I could get Bron, KD, Western Conference Finals. That'd be crazy because they haven't played each other in a minute. And then the East, like I agree. I think the Celtics will come out of the East just because I think they're the most complete team. Their bench is nice. They're starting to get healthy. I think Rob Williams is healthy now. Brogdon obviously won the 6th Man of the Year, so they got a squad over there. The Heat, I think the Bucks was the Celtics competition, and now the Heat knocked them out, or they didn't knock them out, but they looks like they will lock them out. But so I think Celtics. I would love to see Celtics Lakers again. I would love to see Celtics Lakers again, and Bron going if Brian come out of this and win this championship, bro. Like, and you know me personally, like I'm not the biggest Brian fan, but like I would definitely like if he won this championship this year, I would say Brian to go. I would say I would say that.
Well,
I would say that because even just the performance he had, the other night, the 22 and 20, and then high off the glass, and to send it to overtime, and then the and one to basically close out the game on Dylan Brooks, who's boo boo anyway. It's just like like it looks. Oh, he just needed AD. He just need AD to just help out a little bit more on the offensive end. D'Lo too. D'Lo. I mean, he. If the guys help Brian out, and not even a ton, like just a little bit, just assist him a little bit, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to beat him.
Bro, it's funny though, like watching Brian, and you and I have obviously watched him since basically he was 18.
Yeah.
He look old. Like he really be looking old, but he still find a way. Like even his game winner off the glass, bro, he ain't beat him off the dribble. He couldn't turn the corner for real, like and dunk it like he could have. So he had to go that high off the. So the fact that he is still finding a way, be a top 5 player in this game, closing games out with 1 foot. Don't forget, my man just came off of a foot injury that was supposed to take him out. So, and I doubt that foot back to where it needed to be. I'm not speculating on how he got back, but it ain't all the way where it need to be, right? And he 38. If y'all want to see something, watch Bron play defense because that's how you know somebody old. That's because it's the other end of the floor. Bron don't play no defense. My boy is saving all the energy for the other end, and rightfully so, right? He got AD behind him to help him out. But it is enjoying to see it. Obviously, the injuries have put a little bit of a damper on these playoffs because that Kawhi thing would have been interesting against KD. But nonetheless, though, a Lakers-Celtics final, man, bring it back to the 80s
just
on
like
that
game one with Kawhi. He's different. Kawhi, a healthy Kawhi is different. It's completely different. Yeah.
Ain't many I'm taking over a healthy Kawhi.
I appreciate this. I appreciate you, obviously, you hopping on. I appreciate this. We're gonna get this out right before the draft so people can listen to it, get the insight right before, the draft kicks off. And Kansas City, Missouri. I mean, I think I've actually never been there, but I do think, the city is exciting. I think the NFL draft, obviously moving around is dope. Gives a lot of fans, an opportunity to be involved with the draft and, get a part of that experience. And so I think it'll be cool. NBA playoffs, like I said, that's gonna continue. And I'm actually excited to get more football stuff going. Like, it's been a lot of basketball. Here and there, it's been football, just talks with trades like Lamar. Obviously, Rodgers just got signed to the Jets. Like, it's been a little here and there stuff, but I'm finally started to, excited to see like NFL Network, NFL, Live, all those type of shows start to have some content to talk about, some news to talk about, and obviously get some NFL players back on the podcast, over this little off season so they can update us too. So definitely excited about that. But again, Varsity House Podcast, Sean Crawford, Carl Jones, appreciate you tuning in. Check us out next week. We got a great episode. It might be an NFL player already. It might be Kyle Hamilton. I don't know which one I'm going to drop yet, or it might be Braxton Miller. Both dope episodes. I'm excited to drop either one. So just tune in and, continue support. Follow us on Varsity House Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well. We got a Facebook page too. So definitely tap in there. We everywhere. And, check us out and look to see what we'll do next.